Imagine this. You are standing at the edge of a cliff, but it is not the drop that terrifies you. It is the strange, irresistible compulsion to step closer, to peer over, to truly feel the abyss. This is not a call to destruction. It is the primal whisper of negative visualization, the deliberate, conscious act of envisioning the worst possible outcomes. We are taught that focus on positivity is the only path to success, to peace. Yet, here lies the unsettling paradox. By obsessively avoiding the dark, we become paralyzed by its very shadow. What if your deepest fears, when stared at directly, hold a latent, terrifying power? Not the power to destroy you, but to radically, irrevocably free you. Consider the last time you lay awake at night, haunted by a potential failure, a loss, a collapse. Your heart raced, your mind spiraled. You fought it, you suppressed it, you told yourself to think positive. But what if that fight is the very source of your exhaustion? What if that suppressed dread is the anchor dragging through your daily life, slowing every ambition, poisoning every joy? The ancient Stoics practiced premeditatio malorum, the premeditation of evils, not as morbid fixation, but as a mental forge. They emerged not frightened, but fearless. This presents the great, haunting question. What brutal, liberating transformation occurs when you stop running from the darkness and instead deliberately invite it in? The answer does not lie in comfort. It begins at the cliff's edge. The reason we recoil from this edge is written deep within our modern psyche. We live in an age of curated positivity, a culture screaming at us to manifest, to visualize success, to avert our gaze from anything unpleasant. This is not wisdom. It is a collective avoidance strategy, a societal anesthetic. It creates a hidden problem. By banishing darkness, we render it unconscious. Carl Jung warned, what you resist not only persists, but will grow in size. The fear you refuse to examine does not vanish. It migrates. It becomes the unexplained anxiety before a meeting, the simmering resentment in a relationship, the profound fatigue of holding a mental door shut against a tidal wave of what-ifs. Philosophers have long understood this tension. Nietzsche saw that to live fully, one must gaze into the abyss, acknowledging that when you look long into an abyss, the abyss also looks into you. This is not a passive horror, but an active confrontation. The existentialist Jean-Paul Sartre called it bad faith, the lie we tell ourselves to avoid the terrifying weight of our freedom and the reality of loss. We choose the comforting, prefabricated narrative of inevitable progress, blinding ourselves to the true, fragile nature of our existence. This conditioning is a trap. It leaves us psychologically fragile, unable to cope when reality inevitably intrudes with its chaos. We have mistaken the map of forced positivity for the territory of a real, rugged life. But what is the true cost of this blindness? What unseen realities are we creating by refusing to look at the dark? If these hidden psychological forces compel you, subscribe to delve deeper into the unseen architectures of your own mind. Your insights in the comments are a map for our next exploration. Let me know what you discover. The cost is a life lived in a silent, desperate negotiation with a ghost. By refusing to consciously engage with the negative, we allow it to shape our reality from the shadows. Cognitive science reveals a cruel irony. The brain's ironic process theory shows that attempts to suppress a thought make it more persistent, looping in the background and draining cognitive resources. Your effort to not think about failure becomes the very energy that fuels your anxiety about it. This silent tax on your attention impoverishes your present moment. You are not here, in this room, reading these words. You are halfway in a phantom future, fighting a specter you refuse to name. Culturally, this breeds a fragility that permeates everything. We see it in the inability to process complex grief, in the polarization of discourse, where any dissenting view feels like an existential threat, in the pursuit of risk-free lives that become bland and devoid of meaning. Viktor Frankl, surviving the abyss of Auschwitz, observed that those who found a why could endure almost any how. But our modern world diligently protects us from even contemplating the how, leaving us without the tools to discover a deeper why. We are conditioned for comfort, not for courage. The unseen consequence is a profound disconnection from our own resilience, a neurological and spiritual atrophy. We become prisoners in a well-lit room, unaware that the door is unlocked, simply because we are too frightened to turn off the lights and feel for the handle. But what if the act of feeling in the dark, of mapping the very contours of our fear, is not the end, but the beginning of a radical rebellion? The rebellion begins with a single counterintuitive command: invite the chaos in. This is not passive acceptance, but active, deliberate confrontation. You systematically dismantle the phantom by giving it a form. Sit in silence and ask, what is the specific worst-case scenario? Not a vague sense of dread, but the concrete sequence. You lose the job. The diagnosis is bad. The rejection is final. Then you go further. You walk through it. How would you respond? Who would you become? What small action could you take even then? This is the Stoic premeditatio malorum, weaponized. You are not practicing pessimism. You are conducting a fire drill for the soul. By mentally enduring the catastrophe, you accomplish two revolutionary things. You rob it of its element of surprise, and you discover, buried within the nightmare, the blueprint of your own latent capability. You reclaim authorship of your inner narrative. The philosopher Arthur Schopenhauer, often mislabeled a pessimist, understood this. By willingly contemplating suffering, we integrate it into our understanding of the world, and in doing so, we neutralize its capacity to ambush us. History's resilient figures, from logicians in prison camps to entrepreneurs who embraced their early failures, operated from this prepared mind. They had already lived through the loss in the theater of their imagination. So when reality whispered a threat, they could reply, I know. I've already met you here. This is how you forge anti-fragility. But this practice leads to a final, staggering realization. The ultimate truth is not about managing fear at all. The ultimate truth is this: negative visualization, when fully embraced, ceases to be about the negative at all. It becomes a profound, almost alchemical, act of gratitude. By mentally relinquishing everything, your health, your relationships, your achievements, you do not summon despair. You perform a sacred seance for the present moment. You suddenly see the fragile, miraculous fact of what you hold right now. The coffee cup in your hand, the steady rhythm of your breath, the familiar voice in the other room. All of it is stripped of its mundanity and revealed as the breathtaking, temporary gift it has always been. The cliff's edge is not a place of fear, but the only vantage point from which you can truly see the landscape of your life. This is the paradigm shift. Preparing for loss is not an admission of defeat, but the definitive method for falling in love with your existence. It flips the script from a future-oriented anxiety to a present-tense reverence. The abyss once stared into reflects back not a monster, but the precise contours of everything you have to lose, and therefore, everything you currently have to cherish. It makes life not a desperate game to avoid an end, but a conscious, vivid participation in a fleeting miracle. So, do not look away, step to the edge, and witness how, in the full, terrifying acceptance of the dark, the world you actually inhabit suddenly and forever illuminates. If this final realization shifted something within you, subscribe for more journeys to the edges of thought. Share your own revelations in the comments below. How does the landscape of your life look from the cliff's edge?